And Offset's brother already was trying to slide for Takeoff. The minute he heard that everything happened in Houston and that they were all with Prince Jr. and all of them at a party, he knew it was something that was going on, man. So subscribe to this channel, like this video, make sure you watch the whole thing, comment, let me know where you from and who you a fan of. Let's get into it, man. So that's why they were trying to hold him back, because he wanted to go from Atlanta to Houston and try to slide with his partners and everything like that. Because Offset didn't want to have to be down there. He was already with Cardi B. He already had things planned out to where he wasn't going to be switching up the plans last second. He was already planning to come and fly down so he could talk to the family, because they had to do the whole funeral show. And then the thing is that he found out Quavo was actually hanging with them a few weeks before. Like, Quavo always constantly goes down to Houston and comes back and stuff. So he knew that it was at some point something was going to happen, because he was seeing them way too much. He told the Offset's brother and cousin, told him to keep out of there, because they were going to try to make them check in, and all that is just involving themselves into the wrong things. And basically now, when Prince Jr. wanted to go to the NBA game, Offset cousin said that he's going to have to check in, and that they don't want nobody coming to Atlanta while this whole thing is still going around, because all that's going to make it do is make it seem like they're actually taunting each other and bragging on each other about how they could come to the cities and not have to check in and everything like that. It's basically the same situation when a rapper has beef with a certain person in a certain city and they try to go to their city and do the whole thing. But we all know what happens in that situation. You could just end up like PNB Rock. But one thing y'all got to understand is that it's a lot of Takeoff supporters and Takeoff fans out there that they want to get justice for him. They want everybody that's involved in everything to be basically brought to light and, you know, found out about and get the justice all in all. So I know all of y'all going to be supporting Takeoff, so make sure you subscribe, and condolences and everything. But really, when you look closely at it, the whole fallout between the Migos and everything like that, it started off with it being over a girl and everything like this. But see, the sad situation is that the two dudes who's the most crazy out of the Migos, which is Offset and Quavo, they're the ones that get to stick around and everything. But Takeoff was the one who really would have been, who had the right mentality to make them all into like billionaires, basically, to get the big deals, just like how these NBA players and John Morant and all them get the deals. But then those guys end up actually falling out and, you know, being crash test dummies and end up losing the opportunity, losing the billions and everything, because they do something controversial and snap, and they either get locked up or get fined or lose their whole career opportunities and whatnot. And so the thing is that everybody knows Takeoff was the one who was more level-headed and had the better opportunity to actually be, you know, taking this to the next level, because he was about his money. He didn't try to get into no jealousy, no issues over a girl or anything like that. And so that's why a lot of people were like, man, they could see with him, and he had that better flow. He was carrying them for a lot of the songs. But then you see the things that Quavo and Offset was doing, man, it was all for attention anyways, man. Because, you know, everything Offset was doing was basically to get Cardi B's attention and, you know, just go on with the fact that he was trying to be the bad boy of the group. So he has all the fans. He has his girl at home who he's trying to convince all of them that he's still the toughest guy out of the whole group. And even to all the people that's listening to their music, he's got to come in and he's still trying to make them think that he's the one who's the leader, or he's the one that's the bad boy, or not to test him or anything like that. And so he took on the ego, the alter ego of what happens when you become like basically a rapper in the group, and or even not in the group, but then you still try to portray the image that, you know, you shouldn't be portraying and everything like that. And so that's what he was too busy doing, instead of, you know, making sure that everybody was going to be moving right. Instead, he ended up paying attention to that, which led him to being susceptible to the fact that, like, if Quavo did anything, Offset was going to react anyway. So they already were going to have their issues. It was not going to work out between the Migos ever, because them dudes, man, anytime they get into it, man, they putting each other in full Nelsons and body slamming and basically doing suplexes on each other on the Grammy stage. And, it's like, how did anyone expect these dudes to get along when it's like 10, 15 years in and they going up and doing this? But they still young. They still like, what, 29 and stuff like that. And so they almost in the 30s now, but now they learn from it. Now they could look back at everything and try to be OGs about it and say, wow, man, we had a crazy whole run right there. Now we learned a lot. Now they know how not to act and how to act and what to do and what not to do, because that's what a lot of people, they don't, you can learn that at any point. You can learn it early or you can learn it late. And if you learn it late, then it's going to be years and years of you making mistakes, messing up your money, messing up all sorts of relationships and your friends and everything like that, right? But if you learn it early or you learn from other people's mistakes, you're going to be able to know, oh, okay. So now you look at it and you're like, yeah, so I got to make sure I'm not always attention seeking like Quavo, trying to get acceptance from all of these people because he's hanging around Prince Jr. and them, right? And so if he keeps hanging around them, he considers them friends or something like that. And so if he keeps, coming around with his jewelry, with his rapper persona and everything, he knows that they like that and that's what they want around them. So he's really trying to impress them, if you think of it like that. And a lot of people is already thinking that way, and they already saying out there that Quavo was the one who tried to get close with them and try to have some sort of secret agreement with them. And a lot of people knew that it was going to be a bad idea for them to be. That's why you don't mix groups. You don't mix a group from Atlanta with a street group in Houston who's, coming out the Fifth Ward, and they run business differently than the people in Atlanta. In Atlanta, businesses run a certain type of way, especially when they have the whole Tyler Perry Studios and the way that movies is being done in Atlanta and the way that music and entertainment has always been done. But they try to switch it up and leave from that and go link up with the people in Houston who do things completely different. And especially when it comes down to, joining the Prince Jr. and them, and he started mob ties, and the people that he's hanging around with are not actually like business people. And so that's why you got to understand that a lot of it is a facade. It's a bunch of group of people, and yeah, they got a name to the business and everything like that. But when you really look at the bare bones minimum of everything and you take away all the glitz and the glamour and the flash from it, it's just a bunch of street dudes there, coming together and just hanging around and whatnot. And it's like one or two or a couple guys who's really the ones who's making the money out of everything. And everybody else is there just to kind of fill in the space. And so when you really look at that, you're like, man, do I need to go and join that and have to have all of that in my way of what they trying to accomplish? That's really what a lot of people think Quavo should have did and should have thought twice about taking Offset or taking Takeoff to Houston with him to go to that party and everything. They should have sat back and thought for a second first, do I really need to be hanging around them? Like, could I do the same thing in Atlanta? Because they got clubs in Atlanta, they got celebrities in Atlanta. So it's like, why did they have to go over there to hang out and do all that stuff? And, it's all about, you got to stay out of that limelight and make sure that that anything could go down anywhere, and that the people you keep around you could try to finesse you and set you up and do all this backdoor type of behavior to where you go to a party like he did to with Prince Jr. and all of them, and then at the end of it, they get in an argument over the dice game, and Takeoff ends up getting hit from it. And so when you look at it, it's like, yeah, at first they were cool and wanted to be friends and wanted to party. Then later on, as things went on and as the night went on through the whole party, then it turned into, oh, okay, they start doing these side dice games and stuff. And then when it comes to that point in that argument, all that friendship stuff, all of that was all fake and charades, because it didn't matter, because how is it that they were going to be friends and hang out with each other? But then on the other hand, you got your people sending shots over at their people and everything. So they never cared about each other anyways. So that's what you got to understand. And that's the lesson that people need to learn from this, is that everybody you think you friends with and you hang with and all the entourages people are around and all the groupies that they become, and they want to be in the in crowd and they want to be with all the cool people. Well, newsflash, all those people don't end up caring about you when they have their own motives and they want their own finesses done on you, and they trying to sell you on something and do this or that, right? And so at the end of the day, you got to see through all of that, smoke and mirrors, to see through all that BS and realize and open your eyes and really see what's going on. And that everything is a revolving door, and it's basically going to keep going. And as we get more details on the situation coming out of the sources from the Migos in Houston and all that, and we're going to keep you updated. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment, let me know where y'all from. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.